Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our film and game composers review of 8Dio's Ukulele Bundle. I'm Meena Shamaly, and in part 1 we had a look at the solo ukulele, which was a multi-sampled ukulele. You can play melodies, you can play notes, individual notes, a few chords and rhythms if you wanted to. But in this part we're having a look at the ukulele strummer, which is all about chords, all about rhythms, all about, the stuff that ukuleles are mostly used for in most contexts. So, pretty interesting stuff. I don't think anyone's really attempted something like this before, or if they have, I'm quite oblivious to it. But yes, we'll have a quick recap. The solo sells for $99, the strummer sells for $99, and if you get them in the bundle, you get them both for $149, which means you save $50 off the price of them together. And so the strummer, it has a whole 13 different chord types, 13 common rhythm types, and you can blend them using the Legato system, which they've developed, which we'll explore in this review. And this is also a round-robin based strum library, so even triggering the same phrase will yield some subtle variation and it won't have a monotonous effect. Just pretty cool, pretty interesting that this can be done. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of other things which we're going to talk about. Technically speaking, this requires, again, the full retail version of Contact 4.2 or later. And they've done versions for both Contact 4 and Contact 5, which is great, because Contact 5 comes with Time Machine Pro, which is better at stretching and squeezing audio in relation to tempo differences. So this is pretty cool stuff, right? So, we'll get into it. Load up an empty instance, and over here, since this is not a free contact library, you would, like a free contact player library, you would either load it from the Files tab, or you would load it from the Quick Load browser. So the Quick Load browser, load it from here, you got Ukulele Strummer, you get versions for Contact 4 and Contact 5. Now, they do recommend, and I only know this because I spoke to the 8Dio support. I had a couple of issues with the patches, spoke to the support about them, and they said they related to using the latest version of Contacts, which is 5.4.2 at this point, I think. So yeah, I think you might need to be in 5.3 for the most part to be able to use it. But the great thing, and I commend 8Dio support, is I spoke to them and I said, well, this is the issue, and they said, oh, we're using the latest version of Contact, but what we're going to do is we're going to push the update schedule ahead for the strummer and deliver some patches, some updated patches that will have no problem with the new Contact, which is great. I don't know what native instruments have done with Contact to mess up some 8Dio libraries, but apparently that's what happens. So if you do submit a support tickets, that would be one of the issues sometimes. But they sent me some updated files, which should be, I think by the time this review goes up, should be available to all the owners of the strummer, and to new buyers, that'll be the version that you get. So that's pretty cool, right? With Contact, so each of them, Contact 4 or 5, you get full or light. So the light just doesn't have the round robin. So if I load up the full, it loads up with just some of the chord types activated and this 300 megabytes of memory. This little input button, if I click it, loads everything, which is about 1.87 gigabytes of memory. Now if I load up the light, right, and load up everything using that, so you get 0.94. So that's almost half the size of your strummer, of your full strummer. It may be necessary, may not be necessary, depending if you really need the round robin. You might want to just load the lights, and then if you're finding that no, the round robin is necessary because you're getting that one phrase over and over again, then by all means load the full. But you can always unload any chord types you're not using or any rhythm types you're not using, which will affect your memory usage, which is pretty great. So I'll just load it all up, right? Now, I'm just going to get rid of the lights. And I'm just going to play the full. All right, so let's have a quick look. So we can, over here you got the blue area, which is where your chords are. and 2 key switch areas. This key switch area changes your chords. This key switch area changes your rhythm. So here's your chords, and here's your rhythm. Right? So chords, let's have a look at those. You got major, you got minor, major 7th, minor 7th, diminished, major 6th, major 11th, minor 9, augmented, suspended 2nd, suspended 4th, perfect 5th, and add 9, which is a major add 9 versus the minor add 9 if you want to hear. So that's some pretty cool stuff. So you can do that across any key. So say for example, you want to do this. Right? So some pretty cool stuff there. So if we played that, for example, it's suspended. So some pretty cool stuff you can do there. Now let's just check it out with the different rhythms. So you got campfire. So let's play it from a different key, right? From F, I like F. Got an open chug. Got country. Different country. Could almost make a country ukulele version of the jingle bells, jingle. Oh, you gotta. This is the thing. It doesn't actually loop, so you gotta re-trigger each rhythm. So jingle bells, jingle. Okay, that jingle bells, jingle all the way. All the fun it is to ride in a one-up open sleigh. Hey, you know what I mean. You'll notice I had a mistake before where I played this at a higher velocity. It's not a mistake. Like I shouldn't have. I could have turned this off. I should have turned this off. See this thing that says velocity end? If you play it at a loud enough velocity, it'll just give you a chord, which is pretty great. So it's like, so you can just end right there, right? Or just give it a break or whatever. And if you put the pressure down, you can play at a lower velocity and it'll just give you that chord. So I gotta play really soft for the rhythm. So I can do it. So that's not a big deal, right? And you can turn it off so no matter how hard I press, it won't trigger. So that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feature, but it forced itself upon me, right? So here we got country. What else we got? Country 3. So country 3 is a little more broken up. Got an interlude. Got beach chug. Pop chug. Honolulu chug. And then you got a 4/4 chug, which is pretty nice. Try it with a minor. Then you got an island shuffle. Where are we at? Got an arpeggiation as well, which you can do with the solo, but then you've got it naturally played there with all of its the natural finger position that you would on a ukulele. So. So if you don't have a ukulele, you're not sure what the physicality of it is, this finger arp thing might help as well. So you can even emulate this, right? So C minor would sound like this. So So you know that da 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 da. So if I open up, if I'm just using, so that's me just playing the based on what I've just learned from the original patch, right? And then the last thing is, of course, the end, which is your chords, which is the same as what you would get if you had this velocity end thing on. So there you go. Now, a couple of things. We got fret control as well, so we can add some more fret noises. I mean, it's subtle, but it's there, and it adds to the realism. We discussed it in the solo video as well. And what else? The input, of course, is, as I said before, activates and deactivates everything. And the fact that you can choose whatever you want doesn't mean you're not stuck with the 1.87 gigabytes of memory just eating away at your system with nothing. So, a couple more things. We can make it in half time or double time. So if I may put in the pop chug. If I go to, oh, there's that frets. It's pretty loud. So put it at halftime. And we're at a 110 tempo here. If I turn it up a little bit, sorry, let's have the tempo map. If I turn it up, you know, or you can double time it here. And again, it depends on what you're doing. Maybe sometimes you're doing something that's like half time in one rhythm but double time in another. So you've got the option to do that there. So that's pretty cool. So this is just back to its normal time. Now, mono and X legato. This is by default set to mono, so it'll only play one chord at a time, which, you know, makes sense because that's what you're going to do on a real ukulele. See what I mean? So I won't play the whole thing at once. If I turn it off, I'll just play as many as I want. Which can be a pretty cool thing if you want. If I make it minor or something. Sorry. So some pretty cool stuff there. But, you know, if you make it mono. Now, X legato is pretty cool because that's where things start to get more interesting, right? If I wanted to change, for example, the chord halfway through a phrase, halfway through a rhythm, with X legato I can do that. So say, for example, I'll go from the C to the F halfway through the phrase. If I go with mono, it's going to re-trigger the rhythm. See what I mean? But if I go with X legato, it's automatically done that. See what I mean? And you can do that with any rhythm as well, right? And this also applies to chord types, so see what I mean? So you can do it, and you can also apply it to the same key. So say I want to make it from a C major, C suspended fourth to a C major, right? So all I got to do is hold down the sustain pedal and re-trigger the C while the rhythm's going. So see what I mean? See what I did there? So hold the sustain pedal down, get the suspended fourth first, and then halfway through get the major, and then repress the C. So it carries the whole thing through and sounds kind of seamless, which I really enjoy. So that's pretty sweet that you can do that, right? So the fact that you can do that is just pretty damn great. And I've got a little, like I had a little phrase sequence here where I've applied both. So you can see the X legato in full action. It's not necessarily the best sequence ever, but you'll get the idea. So here it is. And then there's a nice little big chord. And see what I'm... Did I actually demonstrate this just before? Where you can change the rhythm halfway through? So I'll change the rhythm as we go. Why? I've got a different one engaged. There you go. Okay, sorry about that. There you go. So I'll go from campfire to like country halfway through. See what I mean? And then change the chord. Or if I do it with the same key, just hold down the sustain pedal and retrigger. See what happened there? Again, sustain pedal and hold it down. And then you can change it across the chords and across the rhythms. And that was what you heard in this sequence. So I'll just play it one more time. And you hear it again in action. And I'll open up the actual instance this time. What are we looking at? There you go. So there you go. And now you can, like, there are few... One of those things that you have to compromise with the library like this is its liveliness comes from the fact that it's a real person playing it and not like a quantized computer. And that means you'll get some imperfections in there. Sometimes those imperfections kind of affect the timing a little bit from changing from one phrase and one chord to the next, which might be a bit of an issue, like in isolation. But I had a bit. I mean, it's not a showstopper, and you can do some great work. And if you hear the demos, they do some great work with it. I just thought it might be a little better polished, but then that might take away from the liveliness of the instrument and make it sound more sterile. When something's more regular, it may become more sterile. So it's a trade-off. As much as 8Dio have dealt with this challenge, they've dealt with it very well. So, I mean, have a listen to this. Like, I feel this could have been a little smoother. Something you might consider doing is, if you feel that maybe the rhythm is going a little too fast in changing from one thing to the next, you can change the contact tempo in relation to the host tempo. So here, where it says EXT up here, just press that, and then you can set your own tempo. And maybe change the tempo incrementally. Maybe 0.5? You can sort of get away with it. Like sometimes a little, maybe 111. See what it does. Like it speeds it up a little bit. Or maybe you can go 109.5, right? As opposed to maybe like your player was a little bit in a hurry, right? So that could be a nice workaround, and I think if it does annoy you a little bit, that workaround might work. So, in fact, I might just apply that here. So that's some pretty cool stuff, right? Now, let's have a comparison of what this sounds like against using the solo, right? So here, from the last video, I'll just play that sequence we had. I mean, it's passable, but certainly nothing like the real player. In context, can it work? Yes, sure, it'll work, and I will definitely be able to do that. But there's nothing like having the real player there. And I've did a few different things here, right? And you'll notice here that the strummer is actually spread out in stereo. If I collapse the stereo image here, I'm using Waves S1 Imager. So have a listen to it. And I think it's just the one. It's just the one ukulele. I don't think they recorded, like, they double tracked it or anything. But here we have a fairer comparison. If I did more with this, I could probably get it sounding a bit more like our rhythm, if we wanted to. Or if we do it the lower. See what I mean? See the difference? Like, nothing will ever match a really recorded thing. And, you know, if you can grab a ukulele and record it, but this is a really nice sounding ukulele, right? The solo ukulele kind of sounds a little more sampled in the chords. See what I mean? So yeah. So you might want to collapse that stereo if you just don't want it to be that wide. Or you might want to. It's up to you, really. I'm just showing you that this is part of the library. So very quickly, I'll just play them together. So I've got that same sequence that we had, and I just played a little thing on the ukulele, on the solo ukulele on top. So, you know, this is nowhere near as good as the demos or any of Trolls is playing. Trolls just, he sounds magical whatever he plays. Trolls is the one of the big bosses at 8Dio. He's not my big boss because I don't work for 8Dio, but he's the heart of 8Dio along with Colin O'Malley. But yeah, so there you go. That's something where you can get them working together. That's pretty cool. What else is there? Yes, one more thing I'm going to say is with the effect system that you get over here, right? So you get quite a bit. So you got some. Let's put it back to campfire. Minor. I like minor. You got some filters. You got some equalizer. You got degraders, so if you want some distorted ukulele as well. Or if you wanted some 8-bit ukulele. You got some delays. And maybe if you tune this down a little bit. starts sounding a bit like some 80s, some 90s dance music, right? And transform, which is that weird convolution. Maybe. There you go. So pretty funky stuff there. Then you got some big reverbs. So I think sometimes you have to turn it on and off to get it to work. And then you got these like little randomizations. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there, right? And if you start maybe messing around, like turn off the mono and the X legato, for example. Put it at perfect fifth. Start messing around with it, maybe tune it down. Put in some filters. Put in some delays. Maybe I'll do this. A lot you can do there, right? And maybe just apply some. Maybe apply that distortion. So there's a lot you can do there. So it's not just, it's a really good bass sound to work off of as well. So yeah, all right. I think I've taken up enough of your time. One last thing I haven't. Let's turn off the delays, the effect. Tune it back up. So one last thing I didn't actually mention. See that little yellow key over there? That's for like some noise chugs. So if, depending on what the rhythm is, different rhythm. So that's some pretty useful stuff, right? So say for example, even with the X legato, if I change the camera. Right, so you can do some pretty cool stuff there and really mess around with the noises and everything. So yeah, all in all, this is a great offering. As I said in the last video, some might view it as a tad expensive, but considering what you can do with it and the amount of authenticity you can bring to your tracks with a ukulele, like if you require a ukulele and you don't have one handy, the amount of authenticity you can get and the amount of stuff you can learn so you can program it yourself is from the, I think it's well worth it, and no one's done something like this before as far as I've seen. So it's a really good tool in the arsenal. And hey, anytime someone says, I don't know, it's like corporate ads or something, or for some reason everyone wants a ukulele and a glockenspiel and a hand clap. I don't know. For something like that. Anyway, all in all, do I think it's worth the money? Yes, I think it's worth the money. Does it sound great? It sounds great. The round robin thing is a great addition to have as well. Could be a little more consistent, but with a little tempo editing within Kontakt, that can be remedied, so no issues. The fret control is great, the velocity is great, and those internal effects, to have them on the front panels, like available, not to have to go inside, I think it sounds great. It's a good thing to have. Not necessarily necessary. I mean, you can always mix with your own plugins and everything, no worries. But to have that available, fantastic. X Legato is brilliant. 8Dio supports have been brilliant about this, because my issue is the X Legato wasn't working as it should with this version of Contact, and they said, okay, let's update it and we'll send it to you. And as they will have sent it to you guys, hopefully by the time this video is up. So there you go. I mean, I've said all I have to say. I've played all I have to play. You guys can decide from hearing it. But if someone says, hey, I need a ukulele strum library, I need some really authentic rhythms, I will point them. This will be the first choice we have. And I'll say, get the solo as well, because it'll be a nice addition. Because they'll play well together, because they're the same player and the same ukulele, sampled by the same people. So they'll play really well together, and yeah. If this hasn't given you enough information, go to 8Dio's sites and watch, and the YouTube channel, watch Trolls' videos as he goes through it, and he does his own magic on top. And yeah, I think that's all, folks. So join us next time for another review at Filming Game Composers. I hope this has been helpful and entertaining and all at once, and hopefully this will help you make informed decisions about the ukulele bundle. All right, we'll see you in the next one.